Stop. Before you do anything else today, check this. If you've ever Googled something at 2 a.m. because you noticed something weird down there and then closed the tab in panic without an answer, this video is for you. There are at least 3 habits almost every guy has that are quietly wrecking penile health, and most men find out the hard way, in an emergency room, or years later when something doesn't work the way it used to. I'm going to walk you through exactly what not to do, why it matters more than you think, and the simple fixes that actually work. Stay until the end, because number 7 is the one nobody talks about, and it's probably affecting you right now without you even realizing it. Before we get into it, if this is your first time here, welcome. This channel is all about no-nonsense, judgment-free health information that nobody else is willing to talk about plainly. If that's the kind of content you want more of, hit subscribe right now so you don't miss the next one. Okay, let's get into it. Let's start with the biggest one, trying to DIY your way to a bigger or better penis. Every single week, ads promise some pill, cream, stretching gadget, or bizarre home remedy that will add inches overnight. None of it works the way it's advertised, and a lot of it is actively dangerous. Manual stretching techniques, where guys apply repeated tension by hand over long periods, can cause micro tears in tissue that doesn't heal the way you'd want. Instead of growth, you can end up with scar tissue, which actually makes things worse, less flexibility, visible curvature, and sometimes permanent changes to how an erection looks and feels. Then there's the homemade constriction device problem. People genuinely improvise with rings, bands, even cut sections of bottles, trying to maintain firmness or trap blood flow. The issue is, these aren't designed with a quick release mechanism. Swelling happens fast, and by the time someone realizes it's a problem, they're not removing it themselves. Emergency rooms see this more often than you'd expect, and it's never a quick visit. The fix is boring, but it works. Anything you put on or around your body that affects blood flow should be a legitimate, properly designed product, not improvised. And if you're chasing size or performance, the actual answer 90% of the time is blood flow, hormones, and vascular health, which we'll get to in a minute, not gadgets. Here's something most guys don't know. How your erections function is one of the best early indicators of your overall cardiovascular health that exists. Before a heart attack, before a stroke, the blood vessels supplying the penis, which are smaller and more sensitive, often show problems first. That means consistent difficulty getting or maintaining an erection isn't just a performance issue. It can be your body waving a flag about your heart, your blood sugar, your blood pressure, sometimes years before those show up anywhere else. So if you've noticed a change, and a lot of guys notice but never mention it to anyone, that's not something to quietly accept as just getting older. It's worth getting checked, because catching an underlying issue at this stage is dramatically easier to treat than catching it after a cardiac event. The same goes for anything visually unusual, persistent sores, lumps, discoloration that doesn't resolve, or unexplained pain. The overwhelming majority of the time it's something minor and treatable, an infection, irritation, a benign cyst. But the rare cases where it's something serious are exactly the cases where early detection changes the entire outcome. Waiting because of embarrassment is, statistically, the worst decision you can make here. This one seems obvious, but the details trip people up constantly. If you're uncircumcised, the foreskin needs to retract and be cleaned underneath regularly, not aggressively, just consistently. Skipping this allows buildup that leads to irritation and infection, and over the long term, an inability to retract the foreskin at all can mask changes that should be checked by a doctor. On the flip side, and this surprises people, overcleaning is also a problem. Harsh soaps, aggressive scrubbing, antibacterial washes used daily. This strips the skin's natural barrier and causes the exact irritation and microabrasions people are trying to avoid by overwashing. Warm water and a mild, unscented cleanser is genuinely all that's needed. More is not better here. Here's an underrated one. Heat exposure. Testicles sit outside the body for a biological reason. Sperm production requires a temperature slightly cooler than your core body temperature. Frequent exposure to hot tubs, saunas, tight non-breathable underwear, a laptop resting directly on your lap for hours, or even keeping a phone in a front pocket for long stretches can incrementally raise that temperature enough to affect sperm production and, over time, hormone regulation. This isn't a panic about every hot shower situation. It's about chronic, repeated exposure. If you're someone trying to conceive, or you just want to optimize testosterone and general reproductive health, this is one of the easiest, most overlooked variables to fix. Loose, breathable underwear, keeping laptops on a desk or pillow rather than directly on your lap, and not making saunas a daily habit goes a long way. This is a sensitive one, but it matters. How a person masturbates can genuinely shape what kind of stimulation the body comes to expect. Extremely firm grip, very fast and repetitive motion over a long period of time, the nervous system adapts to that specific intensity. Over months and years, that can create a mismatch where it becomes much harder to reach the same arousal or response through partnered sex, which involves a completely different kind of stimulation. This is fixable. It's not permanent. The general advice is to vary technique, use lubrication even when masturbating solo, and avoid relying on one single intense pattern every time. Think of it the same way you'd think about training any other part of the body. Variety prevents the kind of overuse pattern that creates problems down the line. A penile fracture is more common than people think, and it happens almost exclusively during vigorous sex when an erect penis bends sharply against resistance, often hitting the pelvic bone during a missed thrust. It causes an audible pop, immediate pain, rapid swelling, and bruising. This is a genuine emergency, not something to wait out at home. Left untreated, roughly half of these cases result in long-term erectile difficulty. Treated quickly with surgical repair, outcomes are excellent. The simple prevention: control the angle and pace, especially during more athletic positions, and use enough lubrication that movement is smooth rather than abrupt. Lubricant isn't just for comfort. It's a genuine injury prevention tool, and there is zero shame in using it generously regardless of how aroused either partner is. Natural lubrication varies hugely from person to person and day to day. It has nothing to do with how attracted someone is. Quick pause. If you're finding this useful, do me a favor and hit subscribe now before you forget. I cover the topics that genuinely don't get talked about enough, and a like on this video helps it reach more guys who need to hear this instead of finding out the hard way. Okay, let's keep going, because the next one is honestly underrated. Section 7. The Performance Anxiety Spiral, 1300. Here's the one nobody talks about. And it's the most psychological item on this list: being harsh on yourself after a single bad experience. One off night, stress, alcohol, exhaustion, anything. And instead of shrugging it off, a lot of men spiral into anxiety about the next time. That anxiety itself is one of the most common physical causes of repeated erectile difficulty. It becomes self-reinforcing. Worry causes a problem, the problem causes more worry, and a single bad night turns into a months-long pattern that has nothing to do with physical health at all. The fix is almost entirely mental, treating a one-off as exactly that, a one-off, rather than evidence of a bigger problem. If it keeps happening despite that mindset shift, that's the point to involve a doctor, because it could be hormonal, vascular, or related to medication. But jumping straight to catastrophic thinking after one incident is, by itself, one of the most common ways men create a long-term problem out of a short-term blip. Last one, and it ties everything together. Smoking, heavy alcohol use, a sedentary lifestyle, and chronic unmanaged stress are collectively the biggest long-term threats to sexual and reproductive health that exist, more than any single habit on this list. Smoking damages blood vessels directly, which damages erectile function directly. Regular cardiovascular exercise improves blood flow. Resistance training supports healthy testosterone levels. Managing chronic stress, even just consistently, imperfectly, protects nearly everything else mentioned in this video. None of this is glamorous advice, but it's the highest leverage thing on this entire list because it's the foundation everything else sits on top of. So to recap quickly, skip the DIY gadgets, don't ignore warning signs, keep hygiene balanced, not extreme, watch your heat exposure, vary things up rather than relying on one intense pattern, slow down and lube up during sex, don't spiral after one bad night, and take care of the basics: sleep, exercise, stress, and cutting out smoking. If this video helped you, or you learned something you're going to actually use, do two things for me. Hit subscribe so you catch the next one, and drop a comment below. Tell me which one of these surprised you the most, or if there's a topic you want covered next that nobody else is talking about. I read every single comment, and a lot of future videos come directly from what you guys ask. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.